We'll talk now about mindset. I know that we've been mentioning mindset in several of the chapters of this course, but I want to talk specifically about mindset in general and why it's important and why we're here talking about mindset. In general, I'm from Latin America, but I see this trait in many parts of the world, I think, except some countries in Europe, Israel, and the US. We are being taught that failure is bad. When you're a child, everything is a yes. From 0 to 2 years old, everything is a yes because you need to experiment, you need to try to walk and fall, and it's fine. But the moment that you reach 2 years old or something like that, everybody stops saying, no, don't do that, don't touch that because you might hurt. Something similar happens when you go to school, because over there it's kind of like if you're bad at math, you won't be an engineer. If you're bad at literature, you won't be able to write a book, and so on. So we're taught that we need to be good memorizing and good on remembering facts, not so much thinking, and also not so much on like trying to learn from mistakes. And guess what? The only way to learn something is making mistakes. That's how life it's been all over the world. That's the way that we've been wired. And then you go to university and the same thing. If you fail at, I don't know, chemistry 1, chemistry 2, you will be a bad professional, things like that. And then when you go to work, they tell you if you make a mistake, you will get a memo or you will get fired. So I'm asking you, who will want to try something new? No one. Just because if you fail, you will get a memo or get fired, and then you are out of the job, and the society will look you bad. For me, it's the opposite in a way. I'm not saying that making mistakes is fine. I'm saying that failure in general will provide you a lot of lessons. That's why I mentioned that we need to capitalize failure in general. What this means, like, for example, I have my own software company. So when I have a mistake, we try to show everyone that making a mistake is not bad. In general, when we were recruiting, we were saying like, as long as you make one mistake different each day, you're fine, as long as you learn from it. So what ended up happening? We were running different development teams. So we would try to share that mistakes from each of the teams. What this means, if somebody on team A made a mistake, it will share to the team. So nobody inside of the team will make that mistake. And that was fine because we're showing that team entirely that making a mistake is fine, and we try to capitalize the mistake so we learn from it. But then we realized that team B, C, D, and E were making the same mistake. So we tried to open for the whole engineering department. And then we said, why we don't go one step further? And then we were doing fuck-up nights where everybody was telling them what they were doing wrong, from the CEO all the way to the trainee. That way, nobody will be surprised if the CEO make a mistake or things like that. And we were sharing that culture, which means is that we were able to manage failing in a very process-oriented way. What this means is not that we're gambling with production environments or we're losing money from our clients or things like that. We were supporting the culture of like, try something new, make a mistake, let's learn from that. And that's being on our DNA, and that's perfect on ourselves. And that's how we recruit people. We will talk about recruiting later, but kind of like that's on our DNA, and that's how we start breaking up a little bit that mindset of like failing is bad. Now, why we have that, I already explained, is because naturally we've been raised in that environment, and that's fine, but we can change it. Now, how we can change it? We are right now in a fixed mindset approach. What this means, everybody's afraid of making mistakes, and that's fine. Growth mindset on the other side is like, I will see a mistake as one step to going and improve. One clear example of this could be Angry Birds, that I'm sure that everybody or most of you already known or played. They were trying to build games. I think Angry Birds was the game number 51 or 52. So just try to picture the level of mindset that you need to have in order to go from failure to failure until you will make it. Of course, I'm not saying just try to be stubborn. You need to have a very clear problem, solution, market, and all that in order to make sure that you can continue. But they did it. They did it 51 times. They tried, and they were able to succeed. So what I'm saying with this, you have two ways. Fixed mindset will keep you perhaps on the right path, but you won't be able to experiment nothing new, which translated to companies for startups means that you do one thing good and you might not evolve. That means that somebody do something better, it will kill you. If you do a growth mindset, you will keep trying new things all the time. And remember that I talk about startup DNA and startup culture. That's what gives you an edge. So just have that in consideration. What I'm trying to say is that not every mistake is just go and find. It's kind of like an environment where you know that if you fail, nothing will be harmed. That's good. Let's do it. That's how most of the innovation happens. So don't be afraid of trying new things. Just embrace the culture. And my recommendation, and this is my opinion, try to put that in your DNA of your startup or company, whatever you do, product or services.